Good morning, 5th grade. We're ready for math lesson 161. We're going to start off this morning with looking at a sentence that I have on the board, and we're going to identify what each word is in the sentence, which part of speech it functions as. So let's start out with finding our verb and finding our subject. What is the verb in this sentence? Would praise is our verb. Now, who or what would praise? Men. Men is our subject. Now, let's go ahead and look at our verb. Is it action or being? Because that tells us that if there are complements after it, we will know what kind. If it's an action verb, what kind of complements follow an action verb? Direct objects and indirect objects. Now, what kind of complements follow a being verb? Or a linking verb, a linking verb. Predicate nominatives and predicate adjectives. Okay, so here we have an action verb, would praise. So, who or what would praise? Or would praise who or what? Would praise who or what? Would praise the Lord. Okay, so Lord is our direct object. That is an adjective describing Lord. Now, we do not have an indirect object. It's not saying to whom or for whom. It's just saying who we would praise. Here we have an interjection, and here we have our prepositional phrase. Notice that for is a preposition. So here we have the object of the preposition, and here we have an adjective. We're just going to leave the last couple, and we're going to diagram a few words here. So when we have prepositional phrases in a sentence, what do we do with them when it's time to diagram? So let's just look at this prepositional phrase. Now, a prepositional phrase is functioning as either an adjective or an adverb. So that means that the prepositional phrase is describing or modifying maybe a noun or maybe the verb. So if you look in this sentence, for his goodness, what is it talking about? Is it talking about a noun? Is it talking about the verb? Like, what is it describing? Now, if you look at the full sentence, you can see that for his goodness is saying, it's answering something about praising, right? Because we're going to praise for his goodness. Okay? So let's just draw an arrow here to remind us that for his goodness is talking about praise, something about how they would, what they're praising. So let's diagram our subject, verb, and our prepositional phrase, because you will be doing some of this in your lesson today. So let's just make a line here. We'll put would praise to the right of our dividing line. Then we have men. Now, for his goodness, would praise for his goodness. For his goodness is talking about that. So, to diagram a prepositional phrase, you're going to make a line like an indirect object line, and you're going to put your preposition on the slanted part. You're going to put your object of preposition on the bottom line here. And if you have an adjective, you're going to put it underneath the word it's describing. So his goes underneath goodness. Okay? So would praise for his goodness. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. So in your sentences today, if you find prepositional phrases, think about, are they modifying a noun or are they modifying the verb? And then put them under whichever one they're talking about. If you read them with what you think they're modifying, that will help you to know if you were correct. Would praise for his goodness sounds good, so we were probably correct. Now let's look at this sentence here, and let's just go over finding our complements. So let's find our verb and subject first, so that we know if we're looking for predicate adjectives, predicate nominatives, or direct objects or indirect objects. So she gave me some chocolate. Gave is our verb. and she is the subject. She gave. Gave would be what kind of verb? Action or linking? Gave is an action verb, so we know that because it's an action verb, what's following as far as complements is going to either be direct objects or indirect objects. So she gave who or what? Now she gave chocolate, so that is our direct object. Now she gave chocolate to whom or for whom? That will say what our indirect object is. She gave me. She gave it to me, right? So that is our indirect object. Let's look at the last two here. That puppy is very cute. Is the verb here, and puppy is the subject. Now, what kind of verb is? Is it an action? Is it a being, linking? It's in the being verb list, which is also a linking verb list. Okay? So if there are complements, they will be predicate nominatives or predicate adjectives. Now, is there anything after is that is describing or renaming the subject? Yes, cute is describing puppy. So, predicate adjectives describe subjects, and predicate nominatives rename subjects. So that is a predicate adjective. Now, the last sentence, its name is Tasha. Is the verb, and name is the subject. So, name is a linking verb or an action verb? It's a linking verb. So it's going to be a predicate nominative or predicate adjective coming after the verb. Now, does Tasha rename or describe our subject? Tasha renames our subject, right? So Tasha is a predicate nominative. And remember, you diagram direct objects after your verb with a line dividing them. You put your indirect objects underneath the verb on the line like a prepositional phrase, and predicate nominatives, predicate adjectives go after the verb as well with a little line pointing back to your subject. So you're doing finding subjects, verbs, complements today and diagramming them. So have fun with diagramming all of your sentences. Watch carefully, especially when you have prepositional phrases. Figure out if they are functioning as adjectives or adverbs, and then diagram them underneath whichever kind of word they are describing. Ask me if you have any questions about those things. And work page 287 today. Think A, think B, think C. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.